It's interesting that social institution is organized around, and this is the key word that I want you to take away, the idea of rules. And these rules are established to meet certain basic needs. So it's a belief or rules that are established to meet certain societal need, okay? And those rules, they create roles. So the really crucial words that I want you to highlight are, so the idea of organized beliefs and rules, and these rules are there to meet a certain societal needs, and these rules and beliefs, they create roles, and those roles become the cluster of these roles fulfill certain needs or some need that all societies must satisfy. Let's look at, and I'm going to give you an example in the next slide, but for now, let me just highlight few words. So it's organized beliefs and rules, and these organized beliefs and rules are there to meet certain basic societal needs or social needs. And these rules create roles for certain people, and this group of people, they work together. These roles, this cluster of people, they work together to meet certain societal needs. So keywords, beliefs and rules. These beliefs and rules create certain, are there to meet social needs, and as a result of these rules and regulations, we create groups and roles, and these groups and these roles and groups of people, they are there to work with the to meet those social needs. Let me give you some examples of that. So those are 5 basic social institutions. The family as a social institution, religion is a social institution, education, economy, government, and politics. Those are 5 basic social institutions, and we're going to look at each one of them very briefly. So if you, I'm actually going to just give you those as some examples. I'm not going to deal with them. We will deal with each one of them in separate chapters. But for now, as a basic information that I need you to take away from this idea of social institutions, there are 5 of them at minimum. There are other social institutions as well, but for now, these are the basic social institutions, the idea of the family, religion, education, economy, government, and politics, okay? Now, from a functionalist perspective, and everybody knows exactly what a functionalist perspective is for now, what are the basic tasks of social institutions? There are 5 of them. There are basic 5 tasks of social institutions. One is to replace members. This is why most people get married, have kids, families, and so on, so that they continue their human existence. So replacing members, Al-Ka'bi, replacing Al-Ka'bi, Shamsi, replacing a Shamsi, and so on and so forth, okay? Second is to teaching new members. So the role of social institutions such as the family or education is precisely to teach the next generation. 3 is to produce, distribute, and consume goods and services. And if you think about it, that's the pretty much that's the role of the economy. So the first one, replacing members, is the role of the family. Teaching new members is the role of education. Producing and consuming goods and services, that's the role of the economy. Preserving orders, and that's normally can be a role of religion, but it can also be role of government. So primarily would be the role of the government here, and providing and maintaining a sense of purpose is also can be a role of family, that can be also a role of religion, or a role of education, but also politics as well. So those are the 5 functions of social institutions. So I gave you 5 examples of 5 basic institutions, and each one of them has a task that they actually do. I'm going to do a slight switch here because I'm going to move to someone that we mentioned before in the course, which is the Durkheim's typology of social. He doesn't call it social institutions, but he calls it social solidarity. The social solidarity is for him has 2 typologies. The first thing that he does is he defines what is social solidarity to begin with, and for him it's based on, and I want you to highlight this, based on a division of labor. That is, each one of us knows what is his or her job. So the social solidarity is when the student knows what her role is, when the professor knows what her role is, when the politician knows what her role is, and so on and so forth. And then he defines the solidarity as in 2 ways. When the first one is what he calls the mechanical solidarity, which is basically uniting people. People are united by traditions, so it's mechanical solidarity. So it's Al-Shamsi, they already there, they know what, they have a sense of solidarity by virtue of being a group of people or a family or tribe or something like that. And the organic solidarity is when people agree on, or they have the mutual dependence. So they depend on each other, such as in the Emirates, for example, we have different emirates, and the whole nation is dependent on that. And then moving back again to the social institutions, a key term in social institution is social interaction, which is basically interacting. That is people meeting, talking to each other, responding to each other, and creates as a result a form of relationship. So the key word that I want you to take away from the social interaction, as understood within the social structure, is really just a group of people acting towards each other, responding, and in the process at the end creating relationships. So a group of people talking to each other or interacting with each other, and then finally producing some form of relationships among themselves. This is probably there are few concepts in sociology that you absolutely have to know. One is something that I already dealt with in chapter 3, which is socialization. This concept, this idea of social construction of reality, is really, really crucial. And it's basically saying that, and I want you to highlight, reality is largely shaped by subjective meaning. What do I mean by that? That means reality is what we think it is. And I want you to write that down. Reality is what we think it is. So whatever we believe in as a society, that becomes the reality. And whatever we believe in not only becomes reality, but it influences what we end up seeing. Really, really crucial. So reality is what we think it is. It's something that we agree on as a society. And as a result, whatever it is that we're believing in impacts what we end up seeing. So what we see is a result of the reality that we created. This is why it's called social construction of reality. In other words, reality doesn't come out of space. Okay, reality does not come out of space. And it's really crucial for us to know this idea of social construction of reality. So the crucial thing here within the social construction of reality is this idea of situation. Basically the situation is, let me read it first. We analyze the social context in which we find ourselves, determine what is in our best interest, and adjust our attitudes and actions accordingly. That is the situation, in other words, where we find ourselves, determine our attitudes according to that situation. Sorry, I think I'm just getting a phone call now, and I'm gonna need to stop it, okay? And then we have, within this idea of social construction, is the idea of self-fulfilling prophecy. This is another third concept that I really want you to take away from this course, which is the self-fulfilling prophecy. Usually self-fulfilling prophecy is something negative, is something false belief. I want you to highlight that word. That makes you believe certain things, but it's not just believing in them, you end up acting on those beliefs. So it's let me read it. A false belief or prediction that produces behavior that makes the original false belief come true. That is, let me give you an example. If you believe that you are not smart, okay? You end up acting not so smart. You will end up being not so smart. That is basically you end up producing what you believe. And if what you believe is negative, then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I hope that is clear, okay? So if you believe in a negative thing and you behave based on that belief, you will end up producing a negative result. And it's really crucial for us to know that. This is a self-fulfilling prophecy. There's an American sociologist, Erving Goffman, and he introduces something really, really interesting that I want you to take away from this course as well, which he ended up calling a dramaturgical analysis, or dramaturgical theory, which is basically, it's very simple. He argues that life is a theater, and we are actors in that theater, and our audience judges us based on what we act, and we are always fearful of, at some point, to slip into the true selves, or reveal true characters. So what does Goffman said? The study, and I'm going to read this, the study of social interaction that compares everyday life to a theatrical presentation. So imagine you are in a theater, and the member of the audience judge us and are aware that we may slip on and reveal our true characters. Okay, so let me just say it in very simple terms. That according to Goffman, we live in a theater, life is a